As a veteran Pokemon catching speedrunner, the open world and huge Pokedex of Scarlet and Violet quickly caught my eye. I wanted to catch them all, and fast. Although, with no random encounters like the olden days, being able to find Pokemon just by walking around sounds like it'll be way too easy. So let's double our fun. I'm gonna play Scarlet and Violet at the same time. This should help us go way faster, and we have to use both games anyways for version exclusives. So why not try this? To start, we'll need one more Switch, and another copy of the game. Since I only have 2 hands, I'm gonna stick to 1 game per hand, using Dracons. The game doesn't support one-handed play though, so we'll have to adjust some things. Using our right Dracon as a base, we already have access to most buttons you need to play the game, but there's no way to walk around. This controller can only move the camera. We can, however, go into the Switch settings and change our joystick to go from being a camera stick to a walking stick. That small fix allows us to use that one Dracon to play most of the game. Although, there are a few buttons from the left Dracon that we do need if we're going to play the entire game this way. So I tinker with the controls some more, and what I end up with is this. This final control scheme fills in the gaps that a right Dracon normally has, and allows it to play the entire game one-handed, letting me press the R button to flip the camera, press ZR to pull out the bike, which are buttons that you can normally only access on a left Dracon. I also put the auto battle commands in the side buttons, which are pretty inconvenient to use, but we need them to do Team Star raids, so we'll work with what we've got. Now that our right Dracon is all set up, we get to direct our attention to the left Dracon for me to use my left hand on the other game. But there's a problem. The joystick is located in a very different spot on the left Dracon, which makes using it feel worse and prevents us from pressing buttons and moving at the same time. It's just not gonna work. So instead, we're gonna go and use 2 right Dracons for this run, and with our 2 right Dracons in hand, we're ready to do this run now, so let's get started. We first have to walk downstairs and meet Clavel, and soon after get to choose our starters for both games. I grab Sprigatito on Scarlet and Fuecoco on Violet, with both games pretty much synced up, making them very easy to take care of. After catching the tutorial Lechonk in both games, I try and walk with them over to the cutscene where you discover the game's legendary. Walking with 2 games at once is the most confusing the run's ever gonna get, but without the ability to ride the bike right now, we're limited to just a slow walk, which is manageable. We eventually progress the story far enough to unlock trading, and although I won't show you every small part of the run, you didn't miss much, as I didn't actually catch a single Pokemon after the catching tutorial. We then trade our Sprigatito from Scarlet to Violet, and then blow up that save and start over, which was my main reason to avoid catching up until now. I was trying to unlock trading as fast as I could for both games so that we could reset Scarlet and have it get our 3rd and final starter Pokemon for us. With Violet pulling ahead here, I should probably explain how we're handling Pokemon catching in this run. For this run, Violet will be the main game that actually completes the Pokedex, catching basically anything it can find, while Scarlet will function as our assist, helping to obtain difficult to obtain Pokemon like Goldengo, and then trading them over. It'll of course also be getting us version exclusives. While Scarlet is getting started over, we head into the Academy in Violet, which is just more mindless nonsense, and once Violet finishes the Academy sequence, we're free to roam the world. I first head off east, towards the Titan Cloth. Roaming around the route, I catch just about everything I can find. Meanwhile, Scarlet has been busy going through the game's very beginnings before it unlocks trading. Again. We connect with that game to get the Pokedex entry for Quaxley, and then, after sending it back to that game, try fighting Cloth. Despite all the Pokemon we just caught, and also getting a ton of EXP from them, we're still pretty underleveled for this boss, but managed to just barely win the first fight. Before we defeat him for real in the second round, I run back to a Pokemon Center to heal, and accidentally run over a Skiddo with my bike. This poor little Skiddo is actually higher level than my entire team, so I take the chance to catch it, and now have a new, high-level Pokemon to fight Cloth with. Skiddo kindly helps us take down Cloth, and now we have the ability to use the Bike Dash, meaning we can go anywhere in Paldea really fast. Our first goal before doing any more story or Pokemon catching is to power level our starter to level 40 to take on the game. Since rare candies spawn all over the map in guaranteed locations, you can grab a bunch of them at the start of the game and make all the fights after a breeze. So I had a plan for which candies to get, based on what ordinary speedrunners do. We take off on our candy journey ready to find success and levels, and soon after Scarlet does too. Wait, what? Despite having quite the head start, Violet caught so many Pokemon and slowed itself down that Scarlet managed to catch up, and now both games have to begin their candy journeys. Wait, how is this gonna work? Going through the game's tutorial and catching some Pokemon simultaneously was doable, but controlling 2 max speed bikes through Spain at once? I have no idea how to figure this out and make it work. I just have to go. And the first thing I do is crash. While Scarlet heads to begin its candy journey, it becomes best friends with the river and dives headfirst into it. And this somehow makes the game crash, giving me an endless loading screen. While that's happening though, I take the opportunity to focus solely on Violet, grabbing some more candies, and making it to the base of the snowy mountain before Scarlet is back in operation. From here on out, I'm controlling both games, whether I like it or not. I gotta go fast. This part of the run is easily one of the hardest. As I soon learn, one of our primary tactics for making this segment work is redirection, which is where some activity, like the game crashing, occupies one game in a way that prevents it from moving, which then makes it much easier to focus on just that other game. Gotta go fast sometimes. Redirection can take the form of the game crashing, or in another case, Scarlet accidentally running into a Diglett and having it lock us in a battle for 2 minutes straight. A battle that I used totally to my advantage to get all the way to the peak of the mountain and visit Gresh's gym. This redirection tactic is totally planned, and I use it on purpose, always. Some struggles help no one though, with Scarlet now getting lost in the desert, and Violet ending up stuck behind someone's house? You'd think that I could just wiggle around and leave, but with no game having a dedicated camera stick, we're having a surprisingly N64 time getting our bearings, making getting stuck surprisingly easy. After an immense struggle, both games make it out of their holes, with Scarlet now traveling through the base of the mountain, and Violet collecting candies on top of it, somewhat at the same time. As we get deeper into our journey, things get a little harder though. This late into our journey, I find that both games keep running into battles, and it's no longer a useful thing either. The Pokemon we fight are so high level that they usually defeat us and send us running to a Pokemon Center before we can even run from battle. To make matters worse, we can't even catch the Pokemon since they're so high level. This horrible vortex of multitasking and backtracking makes this segment of the Candy Quest horribly difficult, but Violet eventually grabs everything it needs from the Snowy Mountain, and makes his way to the back of it to get our final candies. With the end in sight, and our simultaneous journey around Paldea exhausting me, I take this opportunity to just give up. There's no opportunities for redirection anymore because everything just kills us, and getting into battle is the opposite of helpful. So I just stopped playing 2 games at once because I can't take it anymore. And for the next few minutes, I played just Violet, grabbing candies at the base of the mountain and the bamboo forest before we meet up with Clive, who represents the end of our candy journey for Violet, and a bunch of text to mash through while I navigate Scarlet. After an extensive, almost hour-long simultaneous search, things become calm again. The hunt for candies is one of the greatest challenges of the 2 runs we're doing, and it's finally over. Now, all that's left to do is candy our starter all the way to Broken, and take on some gyms. We challenge the Grass, Electric, and Ice gyms at nearly the same time, only deviating slightly when I die to Gresha and Violet. From here, the games take a slightly different pace, with me rushing to gyms on Scarlet's end, trying to just rush through the story, while Violet roughly does the same, but with some Pokemon catching on the side. Our general plan is to take care of the gyms and the Titans, and then do Team Star all at the end. Thanks to our super broken starter Pokemon, and the fact that we've proven our strength by beating the strongest gym leader, Gresha, we have no issue doing all the gyms on both games after this. Near the end of the gym hunts, Scarlet switches up its lead Pokemon for a level 65 Lucario, and uses it to take out its 8th and final gym, the Ghost Gym. Violet is a bit behind in the story, having caught 60 Pokemon now, and taking on its 6th gym, the Bug Gym, at the same time. With all that done, Scarlet now only has 1 treasure hunt left, Team Star, and as it approaches the end, I decided to finally give it one of those time-consuming tasks we saved for it, and try to evolve a Bramblin. Bramblin is a Pokemon that evolves upon leveling up, but only after going on a walk with you and taking 1,000 steps? Or more accurately, rolls. Because I'd seen earlier how horrible it was trying to walk with 2 Pokemon games at once, I wanted to try something different. I'd read that if you start walking with your Pokemon and then just ditch them and go on top of a Pokemon Center, the Pokemon will start running in circles without you having to do a thing. This is a welcome strategy to make playing 2 games at once easier, so I tried it out and let my Bramblin just run around for a bit in circles, and then rare candied them. but nothing happened. I let them run around in circles for a few more minutes and then tried York candying them again, and got more nothing. I decided to finally walk with Bramblin like you're supposed to, and it finally evolves after a few minutes. So that trick didn't help at all, basically. After this though, we easily breeze through Team Star and end up finding Penny right as Violet does the Ghost Gym, its final gym. At this point, we've got a little over 100 Pokemon. Violet now has all of its gym badges and is taking care of the last 2 Titans, and Scarlet on the other hand is readying up to do the Elite Four. I buy some X items in Scarlet thinking it would just let me breathe through the fights. Little did I know how much challenge this would have. I get halfway through the first Elite Four member, Rika, before my Lucario dies to her Dawn fan. Due to it having Sturdy, I can't one-shot it, meaning I have to face whatever attacks it has, and they are strong. Trying to revive my Lucario, I learned that I only came in with 2 whole revives. Rather than reset the fights and buy some more, I just assume we'll do fine in the fights to come, and just truck on through. And after this, Rika and the rest of the Elite Four go down pretty easily. Although we do use our final revive in one of those fights, meaning we can't have a Lucario die at all in the champion battle. And boy, what a champion battle it was. Up until now, I've been winning all these fights by stuffing as many X items as legally possible into my Lucario, and then just going full violence on these Pokemon. However, Gita opens with a challenge. Her Espathra has an ability that copies any X item buffs you use, meaning I can't just stack buffs at the start and win the whole fight. Her Espathra isn't very bulky though, and dies to a single hit from Lucario with no X items, before he meets Avalugg, who is incredibly bulky. I try using close combat on it, and it survives, allowing it to easily one-shot me. I reset my game and try again, while Violet is busying itself with its final Titan, Dodonzo. On my next try in Scarlet, I get clever with Avalugg and set up X items on it, getting 2 X defense out to survive its moves, and an X attack for strength before it lands a critical hit on me. Critical hits ignore X defend buffs, and I die on one hit and lose the fight. I immediately reset the game to start again, but I accidentally reset Pokemon Violet instead, just as that game is talking with Arvin after defeating Dodonzo. This makes me redo the entire Titan fight on Violet, and of course redo the fight on Scarlet. On my next try though, my fortunes change. I open the fight with a critical hit of my own on her Espathra, and when Avalugg comes around, it gets no critical hit of its own, letting me finally set up X items and take it out. After this, I'm strong enough from all my X items that I finally drank that I can one-shot her entire team as planned and we win the fight. After all of this, we're now 10 hours into the run, Scarlet is about to finally beat the game, and Violet is making good progress too. My goal for this run was to try and have it be under 24 hours long, and I don't feel that confident that we're going to reach that with how many Pokemon we've gotten, only having 140 in 10 hours. So I make it my next goal in Violet to reach 200 Pokemon caught before I do any more story with it. Running around the north half of Paldea, we catch just about everything we can find in the lake, the forest nearby, the cliffs near that, and the coastline, before finally reaching 200 Pokemon caught as Scarlet is breezing through the endgame, taking on Professor Seda. She gives us no trouble at all luckily, and after beating the game, Scarlet can now begin focusing on its next quest, Goldengo. To evolve Gimmighoul into Goldengo, you have to collect 999 coins from Goldengo all around the map. The chest from Gimmighoul rewards you with 50 or more coins per chest, and Paldea has 20 chests, so there's just enough chests to get you the evolution if you grab every single one. However, with good luck, you can skip a few. I searched the map far and wide for Gimmighoul chests, while taking care of Team Star and Violet. It's actually a bit tricky to do Team Star one-handed, as we had to dedicate an entire inconvenient to press button to the overall battle feature, but I managed to multitask and to take out Team Star while searching for coins and evolve Gimmighoul into Goldengo. With Scarlet done with evolving Gimmighoul, we can send it around the region for our next quest now, the stakes. These are actually not too much of an issue, as I have a handy map on my laptop telling me where all of them are, but while focusing on Pokemon Scarlet, my map, and chat, I end up dying in Scarlet while fighting Team Star in their massive car. Due to somehow not having revives? It's funny how that keeps happening. I stock up on some more revives and head right back in, and finish out the last Team Star members easily on Pokemon Violet, as well as Penny and the Elite Four after. After Scarlet finishes their stake quest and catches all the legendaries, both games are now in the crater at the same time. Violet and Scarlet are there for different reasons, with Scarlet getting its paradoxes, and Violet doing the plot. And after catching everything we need in Scarlet, we head out to try and evolve some more Pokemon. We right now need to evolve a Rellor, another Pokemon who needs to be walked to evolve, and we learned exactly nothing from earlier. After about 10 minutes of my Rellor walking itself, I learned I have no rare candies, so we have to go hunt for some. And after I grab some candies, Violet has already beaten the game, and has joined us. It's trying to evolve a Palmo into a Palmont, while we're still trying to evolve Rellor. At this point, I am just hoping to God that the trick would work. I had so much faith in the articles that I read, and I really wanted a mental break from playing 2 games by just having both games play themselves. After a patient 20 minutes on Scarlet, and the most calm hour in the run so far, we finally evolve our Rellor and our Palmo. Although with Palmo I got a bit impatient and started walking it after Rellor evolved, which maybe we should have been doing in the first place. After this, Violet now heads off into the world to catch more Pokemon that we missed, while Scarlet becomes a trained assassin, having our team take out every Bronzor that breathes, have our Bisharp fight any happy family it can find, and have Primeape take out 20 of its least favorite Pokemon it can find, and then itself, and end up with an Annihilate, Kingambit, and Armarouge. While all this is happening, Violet is busy taking care of the crater and grabbing its Paradise Pokemon. After all of this, the games finally converge, and everything that we got in Scarlet gets to be traded over. Despite trying to minimize what I caught in Scarlet to reduce trading, I have over 40 Pokemon to transfer, making this trading sequence clock in at almost an hour. But after all is said and done, our total is now 330 Pokemon, getting us really close to the end. Scarlet now gets to be in its final journey, evolving Chansey. Chansey only evolves into Blissey by reaching a high level of happiness. I was super worried about how to evolve it and thought I'd have to battle with it a lot to make it love me or walk around with it a bunch so that it would evolve, all while trying to get the remaining 60 Pokemon in Violet. But before I did anything crazy, I covered the basics. I bought a Sooth Bell, which you can apparently just buy in this game, and I give Chansey as many protein shakes and steroids as I could afford. Somehow, this was already enough to evolve it. With my new Blissey in hand, I could trade it over to Violet, and we're now done with Scarlet. With trading being super slow and there not being that many Pokemon left, I decided it isn't actually worth it for the speedrun to continue playing 2 games. So I just go ahead and turn off Scarlet, and focus my attention fully on Violet. With Violet now in full focus, we clear out all of the remaining Pokemon in Paldea you can find in the wilds, which is not that many left. And while running around the bamboo forest, I run into a new friend. A shiny? I haven't noticed any shinies now. But that's not to say that any shinies haven't spawned. Okay, there it is. That's what I was waiting for. That is so perfect. Not long after meeting our friend Shinx, we finally own all catchable Pokemon in Paldea, with 15 remaining still. The first of our leftover Pokemon are going to come from breeding. We breed all the Pokemon you see here for their respective baby Pokemon, who are nearly impossible to find in the wild. After all those Pokemon are taken care of, we have only 7 Pokemon left, and they're all level-based evolutions. With barely any rare candies left, I head to some gyms to challenge the gym leaders again for EXP, while keeping an eye on the clock. We are less than half an hour away from reaching 24 hours, and only 7 Pokemon left, surely we can finish in time. After a few gyms though, things aren't looking good. Certain Pokemon like Pupitar and Larvesta need tons of levels to evolve, and the fights we just did hadn't given them many levels. Someone from my chat then suggests to make a sandwich that would spawn Chanseys for EXP grinding, and with no other options, I'm desperate enough to try it. I head to a few different places to get ingredients, and after making the sandwich, we're surrounded with Chanseys. We evolve everyone left except for Dracloak, with a few minutes left before hitting 24 hours, when it hits me. We don't have 1 Pokemon left. We have 2. Slugoo. Slugoo is a Pokemon that evolves only in Lorraine, which is entirely luck-based. We could be waiting for ages for the game to just randomly give us rain. I work on evolving Dracloak, hoping that the game will smile upon me, when suddenly it does. It rains right before the 24-hour mark, blessing us with a beautiful Gadra and only one Pokemon left. Our rain luck isn't enough to save us from the clock though, and we get our final evolution, Dragapult, right as the clock hits 24 hours. I was disappointed. I wanted to be able to say I got them all in under a day, to brag that I was maybe the first person to do that, but it didn't happen. But I didn't also collect all the Pokemon for nothing, and I still think I did great. So we went over to Professor Jock to officially cap off the run. Completed their Pokedex! I know! He's so proud of me. Oh, this is so cute. Aww. They have a little song. Alright. And today, in speedruns, I completed the Pokedex in 24 hours and 4 minutes with not one, but 2 Nintendo Switch consoles. This run was so much fun to do, and I hope you enjoyed my journey through Paldea, as well as my other journey through Paldea. Let me know what you thought of the video, and if you have any ideas or challenges I should do next. And that's all for me. Thank you for watching.